Hi guys, Kelly here from Body Fit Solutions. This is our little 10-minute series. We're going to do a little 10-minute workout on the little small ball. So what I like to do is just have the ball lightly between the knees. And I just want you to get into your standing posture, pressing down through the feet, feeling that you're lifting up through the center of the body, widening out through the chest. And then I just want you to come into a little squat where we bring the arms to the shoulders as we sit down. And come back up. And press. We're going to hinge into the hips. I want you to imagine like you're sitting back in a chair so that we keep the relationship between the shoulders and the hips the same. And come back up. I always imagine I've got an elastic band around my knees and I'm really able to sit with that support of the band and come back up. Keeping that little squeeze of the ball so the inner thighs are nicely working. And come back. Now I'm just going to lower that down to my ankles. So just above my little ankle balls, the malleolus. And I want you to rise onto the toes, keeping the weight into the big toe side. And then roll back down, reaching the heels back. Roll up through the feet. Now if you find that you do roll to the outer edge of the foot a lot when we do these little calf raises, toe bridges, the ball really gives us that sensation of connecting into the inner thighs so that we can keep our balance. And you don't have to lift the heels really high, just see if you can keep your weight on the big toe pad of your feet. And roll up, let's do two more. And down, one more. Lifting through the center, wide through the chest. And back down, lovely. We're going to take that ball in hand, we're going to just do a little flow for the spine. So I want you to bring the ball to your chest, and I'm just going to turn sideways so you can see. I'm going to roll the ball down, I'm going to lift the breastbone up. And then come back, roll the ball, lift the chest. So this is going to give us a little bit of an extension feeling, which I think is really important if we're sitting at a desk quite a lot of our day. And not overly drawing down the shoulder blades. I want you to feel instead that you lift the chest bone up and lengthen through your core muscles. So it's a feeling of stretch and lift and wide through the chest. Let's do one more. And lift, extend, and release. Now take that ball, we're going to take it into a little roll down. So I'm going to reach it up, take a nice breath in, and then I'm going to roll down, bend the knees. And you go to where you feel comfortable, and then I'm going to roll back up. So I'm going to reach into that little extension with my upper back, and then bend the knees as I round the spine. Roll up, sending the heels into the floor. Inhale, lift. And round. And roll up. Nice. This time I'm going to take it off center. So we're going to go here. And then round, come down and roll back up, and off to the center. Now if you find that your shoulders are just a little bit sticky and your arms don't comfortably go up over your head like this, then I would suggest that you do a little bit of a lat release with some of our previous videos and to gain that flexibility. Or just take it to shoulder height and then come back down again. Okay, this time we're going to go up. So if you struggle with shoulder, it's going to look a little bit funny. We're going to go into this shape. If you can reach the arms, we're going to go into this shape. And then we're going to make a full circle. All the way around to the other side and back up. Let me show the other version. So we go side, then we release the ball. As we bend the knees, we come up the other side and back to the head. Let me show you the other option. Over to one side, down bending the knees, come up the other side and back to the top and over. Nice flow. Roll up, and you can do that as many times as you want. Let's come on down. We're going to bring the ball underneath the pelvis, which is I think where we get a lot of benefit from the ball as a little stability tool. So we're just going to place that ball in the middle. We're going to do a little bit of pelvic clocks just to see where we are in space. I want to try and do this without activating the back of the legs or the bum. So just a nice easy roll. And then feel where the pelvis can kind of balance there on top of the ball. Press into one leg, arc the other leg. Inhale down. Press into one leg, arc the other leg. I want you to see if you can do it with minimal movement of the ball underneath you. Okay, so see if the ball can stay really steady, but it doesn't move on the mat as you arc these legs. Let's take it up. Take it to the other. Have a little moment to balance. Okay, now we're going to do our little femur arcs. And back up. So I would suggest that you slow down a little bit here if you feel really out of control. If you feel really out of control, go back to the single legs until you've gained a little bit more core support. And really I'm just thinking of my pelvis being really heavy on the ball. So bring your mind to that, the weight of the pelvis sinking down into the ball. Level 3 is seeing if we can do it with the arms in the air. And then we're going to add a little arm arc if we can. So you can either keep the arms still here, or you can add a little arm arc. So I'm taking the same arm back as my leg that's coming backwards, and my arm going down. Now I'm going to challenge it even further and see if I can press into the inner shin, crossing the arm over to the opposite leg. Try to keep the leg still parallel, so the shoulder blade is going to come off the ground a little bit, and I've got my bottom foot just to anchor there a little bit, and release back down, and take the ball off. I'm going to pop it back between the knees, bring the legs a little bit closer, the pelvis nice and level, and use a head block here if you need to, behind the head for the side to sides. So I'm going to take the legs over, keep a little squidge of the ball. Wait for the shoulder to kind of feel like it can come up, and then come back to center. Over just before, and my shoulder wants to fly into the air, but I can feel it release a little bit. I can still feel the elastic of myself. My head is going the opposite way to my legs, like a counterweight. Now, as the legs go over to the right, I want your right arm to reach to the left. Hold there for a moment, reach it long, and then come back to center. Legs to the left, reach your left arm over to the right. So now that becomes the counterweight for the legs. And over. So that's going to be a little bit more challenging than having the arms on the mat. And then level 3, we take it into a little side to side with the arms stretching out, hands interlaced, 2, and 1, and then release. Okay. I like using the ball for a little bit of articulation here. So hands interlaced behind the head. We're going to take a little exhale to go over the ball, and an inhale to come up. Now that might feel the opposite of what you tend to do. I want you to press that head into your hands. So we're going to exhale back and inhale forward. I want your tongue to go to the roof of the mouth. And then I want you to stick your tongue out. Tongue at the roof of the mouth. And what you might find with that movement is it's starting to become bigger. I certainly feel that myself. And if you want to know more, you can send me a message about how that works. It might look a little bit silly. Okay, from here, I want you to go into a little cross touch. Now I don't want you to crunch too much here. What I want you to feel instead is that your shoulder blade is trying to peel off the ball. Okay, so I'm thinking about the right shoulder now coming off the ball. And there is a temptation here for the head to want to bob forward. So I'm just mindful of that I don't want to go too far that my head is starting to go forward. So I'm just going to focus in a little bit more on the rotation for a few more. 2 and 1. Lovely. So that's a really nice way to build flexion if you find it really hard to flex. My final exercise is to come onto your front. So we're going to do a little swan extension, and this is very similar in our little tongue position. When we go forward and up, we're going to put the tongue at the roof of the mouth. So I just want you to have a little wiggle here, get your legs nice and parallel, your thighs calm on the mat. I've got my arms in a little W position. I'd like you to try and drape your spine around the ball. Take a nice breath into your back. And as you exhale, just gather the belly wall gently, like a 25% contraction. And then I'm going to put that tongue at the roof of the mouth. And allow the eyes, nose, chin, chest to lift. Now what I want to make sure of is as I go forward is that I don't lose the support through the belly. So I want to keep that little connection. It's not bracing, so it's not too hard. Tongue at the roof of the mouth. Eyes, nose, chin, chest. A lovely little extension pattern. Inhale as you're over the ball. Exhale. Tongue at the roof of the mouth. Eyes, nose, chin, chest lift. Just be mindful the head isn't doing too much work. So it's in sequence with the upper back. And come back. Now this is a little bit more challenging, but really develop some core strength. So we're going to tuck those toes under. We're going to bend through, we're going to press the knees into the floor. We're going to lift the hips up. Once I'm up there, I'm going to tilt the pelvis to 12, and then I'm just going to lengthen the upper back out. So I'm slightly supported on the ball, but I really have to work my core to keep this position. Lengthen, and then come down. I'm just going to do that 3 times. So press into the knees. I've got my pelvis up. The tail will want to go up, so we're going to take the pubic bone to the navel, the ribs hugging up, and then lengthening the upper back. Feel like you're going forward in space with your head, and release. One more time. Press into the knees, lift the pelvis up. Tilt the pelvis a little bit, lengthen out. And release. And nice big shell stretch back. And rolling up. Thank you for joining me on our little 10-minute workout with the ball.